Just 2 days before the start of the 2025 MLB season, the Seattle Mariners signed arguably the most important guy in their franchise, not named Julio Rodriguez, catcher Cal Raleigh, to a 6-year, $105 million contract with a potential vesting option for a 7th year, which would take the contract up to $123 million in total. This deal has a full no-trade clause for the first 6 seasons, and it is more of a backloaded contract, so Cal will be making more money towards the latter half of this contract compared to the start, which will allow the Mariners flexibility this year and the next 2 years after to go out and get some key pieces both at the deadline and potentially next offseason. Cal will be paid a $10 million signing bonus at the signing of this contract. He will get a $1 million salary for 2025, taking the total for 2025 up to $11 million. 2026 makes $11 million as well, 27, $12 million, and then it jumps up to $23 million per year from 2028 through the 2030 season. There is also a vesting option for the 2031 season, which would be the 7th year of the contract, and this option will vest if Cal plays 100 games as a catcher in 4 out of the 6 seasons of this deal. If this vesting option is picked up, it would be a $20 million payout in 2031, and if there is no vesting option, then it would be a $2 million buyout for the 2031 season. So this gives Cal the incentive to remain behind the plate, to keep grinding back there for at least 100 games a year. There is the thought that long-term he would be moved to DH, but as we all know, he is one of, if not the best catchers in the league. After all this past season, he won the Platinum Glove. We'll get into his stats here in a bit, detailing exactly how good he is. But this is big for the Mariners and Mariners fans for so many reasons, on so many levels. The ownership group for the Mariners have been catching flack for years now on not signing big-name free agents. There's been thoughts of, hey, there's going to be a lot of guys that are starting to get more money through arbitration as they start to mature in their contracts. These guys like Logan Gilbert, Cal Raleigh, George Kirby, as they head into the arbitration years and heading towards free agency. How many of these guys will they be able to lock up, and are they not spending right now on free agents so that they will actually spend on the guys that they've grown in-house? And with this extension of Cal Raleigh, this is hopefully the start of something new, the turning of a page, and that Mariners ownership will start spending money on the guys that matter the most, the guys that they've drafted, developed, and that have emerged as some of the best players in all of baseball. Cal, back in 2024, became the first Mariners player in history to win a Gold Glove award at the catcher position, and is now the first player in Mariners history, no matter the position, to win the Platinum Glove. The Platinum Glove started in 2011, and Cal is now just the 3rd MLB catcher to go platinum, joining Yadier Molina and also Jose Trevino. Last season, Cal led all MLB catchers in caught stealing with 26, innings caught with 1,122, while also leading American League catchers in framing runs at 13 and tying for AL lead in defensive runs saved with 16. He also led the Mariners pitching staff to a 3.30 ERA while he was behind the plate, which was the best catcher ERA in the majors. And that right there is another reason why this was such a big extension for the Seattle Mariners. Cal Raleigh, the guy behind the plate, he's the quarterback on the field. He's helping the pitchers take their game to the next level. All of these guys are elite, obviously, but Cal calling the shots behind the plate, working hand in hand with these pitchers, both the starting rotation as well as the bullpen. They've all developed a relationship together, and them combined are the reason why this pitching staff is so elite. These guys like Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, if they know what they have in Cal Raleigh as a teammate and what he's able to do to help them with their game, that relationship right there is another reason for those guys to want to stay in Seattle, to sign an extension with the Mariners. Cal also led all AL catchers in Fangraphs wins above replacement with 5.4 and Baseball Reference wins above replacement with 4.6 in 2024. And this is the 2nd year in a row that Cal has led all of baseball in catcher caught stealing, becoming just the 3rd catcher in history to lead the league in catcher caught stealing in consecutive years. The other 2 guys to do this in back-to-back years were Jim Sundberg back in 1975 to 76, as well as Hall of Famer Gary Carter back in 1982 to 83. The Big Dumper also led all of Mariners players in games played with 153 last season, becoming the first primary catcher in franchise history to lead his team in games played. Cal also led the Mariners last season in home runs, RBIs, and walks, with 34 home runs, 100 RBIs, and 70 walks. He was first on the team last year in OPS with a 748, 2nd in on-base percentage with a 312, and was also 2nd in runs scored, just behind Julio with 73 runs scored. While leading the league in catcher caught stealing, he has also led all catchers in baseball in home runs in 3 consecutive seasons. Since the start of the 2022 season, he leads all catchers in MLB in total home runs with 91. Salvador Perez is second place at 73, Will Smith is third place at 63, and then William Contreras is fourth at 60 home runs. The $17.5 million average annual value of this contract places him third in baseball among catchers. He is just ahead of Sean Murphy, who averages $12.2 million per year, Will Smith, who averages $14 million, and then just behind Salvador Perez, who is averaging $20.5 million per year, and then JT Realmuto is the highest paid catcher in the league at $23.1 million. The Mariners had already agreed to an arbitration contract this year with Cal Raleigh for over $5 million. This new contract will replace that, buy out his last 2 years of arbitration, as well as his first 3 years of free agency. Now, looking at this contract as a whole and the overall production that Cal Raleigh has had so far in his career, you would say that this is a team-friendly deal. The Mariners did a great job with this. You could certainly argue that Cal Raleigh deserves to be the highest paid catcher in all of baseball, and if he were to have stayed with the Boras Corporation and played out these last two years of arbitration, get to free agency, there very well might have been that chance. But Cal switched his representation in November of this last year from the Boras Corporation to Excel Sports Management, likely because he wanted to talk with the Mariners about an extension prior to reaching free agency. Likely a reason for this is because Cal wanted a guarantee. $105 million sets him up and his family for generational wealth. For a certain amount of guys out there, it's not all about the money. It's not all about getting the max out of it as you can. But if you can get a secured amount of money, $105 million, he gets a massive payday after a stellar year. And after all, especially at the catcher position, there's no guarantee that he would remain healthy for these final 2 years of arbitration heading into free agency. So the Mariners get a premier player, a cornerstone of their franchise for the next 6+ years. Cal gets the guaranteed of the paycheck. And after all, in spring training, Cal Raleigh was on Seattle Sports 710. He was asked if he would be open to contract extension talks with the Mariners. He said that he would be open to it. He wants to spend his career in Seattle. And now this is proof that that was true and that he was willing to meet in the middle. Now, who is the next guy to be extended? Well, Logan Gilbert was also on Seattle Sports 710 during the spring. He was asked the same questions and he had the same response. Logan Gilbert likely could be incentivized to sign an extension with the Mariners as well. He just signed a 1-year, $7.625 million contract to avoid arbitration. He has a third and fourth year of arbitration through 2027, becomes a free agent in 2028 at the age of 31. And typically players have 3 years of pre-arbitration and then 3 years of arbitration before they reach free agency. But in Logan Gilbert's case, as well as in George Kirby's case, they became eligible for arbitration a year early because they are technically Super 2 players. What this refers to in the definition is that players typically must accrue 3 years of Major League service time, with 1 year of service time equaling 172 days on the 26-man roster or the Major League injured list to become eligible for salary arbitration. Super 2 is a designation that allows a select group of players to become eligible for arbitration before reaching 3 years of service time. To qualify for the Super 2 designation, the players must rank in the top 22% in terms of service time among those who have amassed between 2 and 3 years in the majors. The specific cutoff date varies on a year-to-year basis. So long story short, because both Logan Gilbert and George Kirby qualify for Super 2, they are going to have a 4th year of arbitration. They'll be able to make a little more money than if they had less service time. But again, Logan Gilbert has another 3 years of arbitration. He just led all of majors last year in innings pitched and whip. He might look at a situation similar to Cal, and if Gilbert were to play these next 3 seasons at a top level, he very well could demand top of the market money for a starting pitcher. But he also might value the security and the stability of staying in Seattle with the guaranteed money if they pay him $150, close to $200 million for a 6-year extension. And after all, Logan Gilbert was a first-round draft pick back in 2018, the same year that Cal Raleigh was drafted in the 3rd round. It has been truly special to watch both of these guys be drafted, developed, come up through the minor system, break out on the scene, and become some of the best players in baseball. And after a lot of frustration this offseason from the fan base, from even Justin Turner's remarks coming out talking about how ownership isn't spending and how free agents might look at Seattle as a team that isn't looking to win, signing a cornerstone guy like Cal Raleigh, which is the first big extension that they've had since Julio Rodriguez back in 2022. Yes, they did sign Demo since then, but Cal Raleigh being signed is a true statement. So by Cal signing this deal, it's not just him securing his generational wealth, but he's also investing in this team and allowing the Mariners the flexibility to go out and keep these guys as well as signing others. And now opening day is this Thursday in Seattle against the Athletics. I'll be up there for all 4 games of the series. If you run into me at the ballpark, come say hey. I would encourage you to watch as many games as possible. This is going to be a very fun team to watch. A lot to be excited for in 2025. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this Cal Raleigh extension. Who do you think will be assigned to an extension next? And for more content like this, make sure to like and subscribe to the Couch GM. Follow me across social medias for all things Seattle Mariners, and we'll see you in the next one.